Hey friends, I was waiting for the weather to get a little bit better because, over the weekend, Saturday was okay, but then Sunday we got rain, Monday we got rain, yesterday we got rain, and it looks like it's gonna be alright for most of the day today, even though there's not enough sun for my liking. I love the sun, its energy is very comforting, very soothing. The warmth of it, if you actually feel it the way you're supposed to feel it, you know. Close your eyes and let that sink in. Try that sometime when the sun is out and the sky is clear. It kind of gives you a whole new perspective on things. And speaking of it, looks like the sun is making a little appearance now. Isn't that something? Anyway, today today I wanted to talk about frequency and vibration and how these things are so important in our lives. Once you start figuring it out and realizing how much of a role these things play in the way your life starts to align with the proper things, so then you can set in motion whatever your true path is supposed to be. Because I spoke about this in some of the past few videos, how you know the importance of things is that we really have to learn how to live in the moment. We have to allow ourselves to feel ourselves. And what I mean by that is by just being, simply being. I know this sounds very simple at first, but trust me, even though it is as simple as it looks, it may not be as easy as some may think. Especially for, you know, those of us that are like Gemini or whatever other zodiac is out there. I'm not super familiar with that subject. I know about my own, but because I enjoy that kind of subject, you know, people disregard astrology as a bunch of bunk, and it's because they haven't really looked into it deeply and did their own research to understand how much of a role everything that happens in the skies has to do with our personal lives and our personal growth. Astrology is a deep science, but I'm getting a little off topic here, and maybe in the near future I'll I'll do a video talking specifically about some of the astrology aspects that I think you know are important to us. So the way the way the universe works. And I'm speaking here from my own perspective, my own experience. There's nothing wrong with, you know, reading about things, especially if you're trying to find out your own truth, you know, your own pathways in life. But I think that it's important that there are some things out there when it comes down to how things work that it's universally acknowledged and understood by the people who, you know, have followed this path, which is, like I was saying before, you have to just learn how to be in the now. Because that's the only thing that will allow you to completely change your life in ways that you wouldn't even understand. Human beings are complicated, but only because we complicate things ourselves. We forgot how to see the beauty of things, the simplicity of things. So I'm going to use a very easy to understand analogy here. I'm out here right now in the woods, you know, just looking at all this perfection that's around me. Everything is in its place, exactly the way it's supposed to be. None of these trees around me, none of these rocks around me, none of these animals that you can hear in the background around here are asking themselves, where should I be now? Where should I go next? They're not thinking about what happened in their past. They're not thinking about anything. They're just being themselves. And that's exactly how it works with people. But somehow, some way, we forgot that. I don't really know what happened. At what moment in time, not that time is relevant, because it really isn't, but at some point in human history, something major must have happened, and we just forgot how to be that way. We just forgot how to live that way. And that was the biggest issue and mistake that probably ever happened to mankind. And that is not an understatement. Because for those of you that started, you know, walking your own path, like I have been for a while, and are starting to realize how simple things really are, and how when you look at the root the root of all the things that are. There is no magic formula. There is no secret sauce. And do you know why that is? It's because you are the secret formula. You are the secret sauce. You've always been. You just never realized that. And that's why I'm here, telling you this, just to give you a reminder. You know. You know deep down inside. You know, there are some things about the way real truth resonates with people when they are in a state of being that they're ready to listen to it and understand. And this is what I'm hoping to accomplish by doing things like this. Because this message is going to get to the people who are at this stage and point in their lives. And they are starting to understand how the universe works, how beautiful it really is, and how simple it can be when you understand the way these things work. It's hard to explain with words what it feels like to be in the moment, because I don't think it is even possible to convey it with words. I think one of the maybe more easy to grasp ways of saying it would be that phrase that Rumi used in one of his books, speeches, whatever, you know, whenever that happened. But that resonates with me a lot. And what he said was, you are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. Repeat that to yourself a few times and understand the true meaning of what he was trying to say here. That's some of the deepest wisdom that I've ever heard another person say to someone else. When we forget to just be what we are, we create this entire fake existence and fake reality around ourselves. That completely messes everything up. It gets out of balance in such a way that no wonder why, for some people, life becomes an eternal struggle until they stop to have their own, moment of asking themselves the question, why? to be in the moment is just a wonderful thing. You know, I'm out here just looking at these trees and I'm feeling the wind on my skin. I'm listening to these birds chirping in the background. I see the sky on top of me. Feeling the warmth of the sun. And there he goes. As I say that. It's okay though. But once you start, you know, to acknowledge yourself that way, by just being, don't think, just be. I know this may be hard at first for some. I'm a Gemini. It wasn't an easy thing, trust me. Because I myself, you know, personally, it took me a while to be able to get out of thinking mode. And you know, you're always gonna have those moments. It's hard to be in this like self-awareness mode 24/7. But you have to practice. You have to allow yourself, give yourself the space, the stillness, the peacefulness, and just practice, practice, and practice some more. Like your life depends on it. Because it does. If you want to feel real joy, this permanent state of being, of just being yourself, like I said, it's hard to put it into words, but when you start living your life that way, however amount of time you can actually live your life that way, but you have to start somewhere. You know, you have to start somewhere. So just do it. Try it. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. We all have free will. You can do whatever you want. But I know how much of a difference this has been playing in my personal life and my personal journey. And I'm here to tell you, this is the most powerful thing that there is. If you could only grasp a fraction of the power that you have, of the strength that you carry within you to achieve and receive everything and anything, that you ever thought was possible within a lifetime. You wouldn't be sitting there right now thinking about it. You would just be. When you start to do these deep changes in your life, and you start to set things in motion for yourself, you have to understand that because of this compartmentalizing that exists within the planes of existence, the different dimensions and different frequencies that exist all at the same time. That's why the reality of the universe, and I'm trying to think of the word here, but it's just not coming right now. It the nature of everything. It's actually it's in a quantum way. It's never a constant until you've achieved this state of stillness and being in a permanent manner. So things will always, oscillate in a certain way once you've achieved a certain, frequency. It's never gonna stay 100% the same, because until you manage to constantly stay at that point the entire time, always, there's always going to be some variations in the way this program is running. I may do a part 2 on this because we're already 22 minutes in and I barely started, touching the surface of this. But this is very deep, the way it works. So people have this tendency to say, there's always going to be people out there, they're going to be like, oh, this whole manifestation thing is crap, it's not real, it doesn't exist. I tried it. No, you didn't. You have no idea what you're talking about. You don't understand what you need to do